Welcome to the Manpower podcast. Dan Cottrell.
Good to be here.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
We'll find out when it's over.
That's right.
All right, so I'm going to take a second and welcome everybody. You know, I think Tracy told me that, I can't remember, is it women that like to watch video podcasts? Jared, is it women that like to watch video podcasts and men like to just listen, or is it vice versa? Vice versa? So men like to watch podcasts. So, all right. So we're sporting the sweaters and zip-ups today because it's freezing cold outside and it's supposed to be spring.
That's right.
So I want to talk about something very specific today. And can I just dive right in?
Do it.
We've known each other long enough that I don't have to like sugarcoat anything, right? Is this going to be this is going to be the real deal?
That's right.
This is Manpower. So,
Yeah.
I asked you earlier, you remember how long we've been friends?
Over 40 years.
So I think, you were doing math, I was counting, we were about on, it's right at or over 42 years.
Wow.
We've been friends.
Wow. We're not that old.
No.
What happened?
You still have hair. Right. You still have hair. Ours is the same color.
Getting white, though.
I was driving down, Tracy and I were on Fox 10 this morning talking about, we got Easter coming up, and I don't know when this podcast will drop, but, we're in the Easter season, spring, kind of going into summer, and everything's beautiful and blooming, and I was driving up Cottage Hill Road like I always do. I drive up Cottage Hill Road here in Mobile all the time. And, of course, your office is right there and has been for many, many years. And I was just thinking about you and just thinking about how long we've been friends. And Tracy said, I'm doing a podcast today. And I said, I'm doing a podcast today too. And I'm calling Dan Cottrell, my longest standing friend. And we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about friendship today. And when I reached out to you, I didn't even know if you'd have time to do it, but you're so kind, and you always are, and you're always like, let's do it, whatever, let's go to lunch.
Yeah.
I'll help you move. I'll help you plant a church. Whatever you got, I'm ready.
I'm in.
So we met in high school, and we were both, and we kind of add to this a little bit. So I want to talk about friendship today. I think friendship is something that's a deficit in the world right now. People are lonely. And it's not just because of COVID. People were lonely before COVID. Yeah. They were hurting, broken, hopeless, and people were looking for friendships. And I think it definitely accentuated it, just isolation. But friendship is something that has been so important, relationships and friendship in my life over the course of my life. And I tell everybody, Tracy always says, well, Kim's my best friend. We've been best friends since we were 3. And, when I think about my life and I think about over the course of my life and all the ups and downs and lefts and rights, man, you've been there for over 42 years. And I'm going to tell you something, I consider you my best friend.
Yeah.
That
goes both ways, man. You've been there for me too. So,
all right.
And we don't have many people like that in our lives, though. That's the thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So I want to read a verse as we start. And because I believe just God's word is just so, it's the guide for everything. And it's also the guide for relationships and friendships. And so listen to this verse. This is Romans 12, 16. I like the last part of it. I'm going to read all of it, but listen to the last part. This is the CEV translation. It says, be friendly with everyone. Don't be proud and feel that you know more than others. I like this. You're going to love this part. Make friends with ordinary people.
That's good stuff.
I guess we're just ordinary.
We're just ordinary.
I guess we're just ordinary, right?
Right.
I guess,
Yeah.
I think you're pretty extraordinary.
Nah.
But I think the Bible just cuts to the chase, right? Yeah. And we were talking about friendship, and we had team night here the other night, and I was, I may have said it on Sunday. I don't know. We're talking about how Jesus lived his life as we moved toward Easter. And I said, if you want to have a friend, be friendly. Mm-hmm. And we met in high school, and we kind of met through kind of a strange set of circumstances. We were both brand new to a high school where we went to an all-boys school. Mm-hmm. And most of the guys had been there since kindergarten. And, we step in middle school, high school, and we were a little bit outsiders.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's how we connected. Do you feel like that's how we connected at first, just because we were a little bit we weren't at the A table? I don't know. Is that?
Yeah, no, we were both playing ball.
Yeah.
And both kind of outsiders, and we just kind of, weren't quite assimilated yet into we both kind of knew guys just from playing ball growing up with them, but we weren't really close with them because we didn't go to school with them. So you and I just immediately just kind of hit it off, had a lot of the same interests. And
music. We love music.
Yeah.
You remember what we used to do during, I don't know if it was lunch or study hall. We would go sit in your car in the parking lot, and we would listen to Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Yeah.
Was it? Take off. Take off, eh?
I had a $500 car with $1,000
What kind of car was
stereo.
that? What kind of car was that? What was it? Was
It
it
was like an old Fiat box. It was
It
terrible.
was a Fiat.
Yeah.
That thing rang on the inside.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a
if it got
killer.
below 50, it would never start. It
Yeah,
was,
I remember listening.
But you know what? I was glad to have it.
I remember we would listen to because the Bob and Doug McKenzie, that whole strange brew kind of, it was an SCTV Network 90 out of Canada. And then it was like Rush did their, take off.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to all kinds of good music. And I just remember us building a friendship from early on in life. And I think it's interesting that our friendship, what I love about our friendship, it has stood the test of time. But not only that, distance. Mm-hmm. I mean, we, even though we both knew each other in high school, I mean, we both knew each other's spouses before we got married.
Yeah.
And we went to different colleges. We went to different parts of the country. We were away. But somehow we would always reconnect when we came back.
Right.
We have an epic spring break trip that we can't talk about on this podcast because it's definitely after Jesus.
Yes.
But I've always, I can remember being in Oklahoma, 1,000 miles away, and us not talking for a season and calling you up on the phone. I don't know if I was asking you an insurance question or what, but man, we would jump back in.
Yeah.
And it was like we never missed a beat.
Right. You'd call me and it'd be like, we may not have talked for 3 or 4 months. And it'd be like, boom, we just catch right back up and. And this is guys in our 20s and 30s, and most guys just don't do that. You're too busy raising your family and that kind of stuff. So,
to me, it's always been special. And, Tracy said, are both of you going to cry because you've been friends so long when you do the podcast? I was like, no, but we probably won't laugh until we cry. Yeah, until we cry. But, when we were together, even as adults, and after we got married, we both lived here, And so, man, what I always loved is we were always grabbing lunch. We were always, I didn't know it at the time, and maybe I did. I'm just forgetting now. But talk about just how our faith connected too early on, because we kind of grew up in the same church.
Yeah.
Because your family connected to the church where we were connected, and then we were even involved at church together, not only in high school, which I thought was unique because that's not how we started our friendship.
No. And then, but it was almost like, okay, I'm coming to a new school. We just coming to a new church.
Yep.
Coming not only to a new church, but from a different denomination.
Yeah.
And I just always admiring, your family and where you stood. And then you had some stuff, you actually had some things that I was kind of looking for, and so you and I started hanging out more with you. And then we kind of, started doing more things through the church.
Yep.
And so that just added a whole nother dimension just to our, listening to music, playing basketball, just a deeper relationship of things that probably mattered more than that, even though we didn't know it at the time, but.
Well, and I said it when we first started, and I think it's true. And I just want to make sure that we talk about this for a minute, because everybody in the world, I think, really everybody in the world is looking for true friendship, not just somebody to hang out with. And culture is so weird. We could jump into all kinds of different areas of relationships right now, and how surfacey and how not real and deep they are right now. But I want to read another verse. I want you to listen to this. 2 Timothy 1:7 says this in the Living Bible. It says, "For the Holy Spirit, God's gift, does not want you to be afraid of people." And I think so many people live in fear right now, and it keeps us from building relationships. But it says, does not want you to be afraid of people, but to be wise and strong, and to love them and enjoy being with them. I've always enjoyed being with you. Man, our relationship over the years has started out as just friends in high school playing ball together, and we kind of had a friend connection, then we had a faith connection, and then since then we've even had a family connection. Our families, have grown together now. I had the privilege and honor of being the pastor and marrying both your daughters, and it's funny now how our lives are running parallel in seasons now, because now we've got kids that are married. Yeah. I've got grandkids now, even though you're older than me. Can we talk about that for a minute? How much older are you than me, right?
I think 2 or 3 weeks, I think. Yeah, I got you beat. 2 or 3
weeks. Okay. Anyway, but I said this to you before we started, and this is kind of what I want to drill down on for a minute, okay? I said everybody in the world is looking for true friends, all right? And what I told you earlier, and I think you agree, I've been on this interesting journey lately. I've been reading a lot, listening a lot about happiness, okay? Because everybody in the world, if you ask them, what do you really want? I really want happiness. I want to be happy. I want to find happiness. I want to find the person, the thing, that makes me happy. And there is a science behind happiness. It's a study. But there's a guy who's probably the world's foremost expert on happiness. Okay, he's a Harvard professor. He also happens to be a Christian, which is a crazy thing to think about. That he is the world's expert on happiness. He's a believer, and he teaches at Harvard University. And he came up with these 4 pillars of true happiness. And here's what they are. And it's faith. You got to have faith, right? You have to have a family and a solid family, good relationship with your family. You've got to have work that's really rewarding. And what he means by that is work that serves other people. And I want to talk about that because you're not only in that field, but you understand what that means even from a faith perspective. But then the last one is true friends, like real friendships. And one of the things that he says that I think is interesting, I mentioned it to you earlier before we started, is we have deal friends, but what he's talking about is real friends. And deal friends are the ones who you work with them. They're relationships that you build through work, through whatever, professional, organizations, that kind of thing. But they may know what you do, but they don't know who you are. In other words, you may have long relationships with them through a professional channel, but they don't know you have grandkids. Right. They don't know how long you've been married, and they certainly won't take your call at 3:00 in the morning. Yeah. When everything goes crazy. Yeah. And it's the real friends that I'm talking about. So let me just bring something up here that is hilarious. Not only are you my friend and my real friend, I had a wreck not too many years ago. Yeah. And you're also my insurance agent. Okay, so here's this is we have just the craziest relationship because we run parallel on so many things. We're also business owners. Yes. Because I was in business and aviation business, and of course you're in the insurance business. But I had a wreck right in front of your office. How many of you can say that you've actually had an automobile accident in front of the office where your best friend in the world, who's also your insurance agent, you have it right in front of his office? So I have this wreck, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, what am I going to do? I look over, your office is right there. I call you.
You're lucky I answered the phone.
I'm lucky you answered the phone. I am. That's true. I call you, and I say, you're not going to believe this. What? I just had a wreck. And I said, you said, where are you? And I said, walk outside. And you walked out. I said, look to the right. Yeah. And there I was waving at you. Of course, you came over and said, that's a real friend, man. Yeah. You talk about taking your phone call. That's right. But I think it's interesting because faith is certainly a huge part of our lives. And we talked about connecting on that level after our friendship, that we really realized that both of us were on the same faith journey. Yeah. That we got into a life-giving church that our families were both a part of. We got into youth group. We got involved. We got, I don't know if you did this or not. I remember we taught Sunday school. Tracy, I taught 5th grade boys. And so we have a similar journey in that. You led a Christian basketball league for many years. And so we understand that faith component is so critical in our hearts and our lives, in our friendship, because I don't know about you, you want people pulling in the same direction.
Yeah. Well, that's, there's really nothing more important than that. Right. And when you have that as your foundation and your base, then everything else just kind of flows from there,
Talk about your faith journey for a minute. Give us the Reader's Digest version of your faith journey, because it's a huge part of our connection now. Yeah. Now, it was then, but even more so now, and I want to get to that in a minute. Just give us the Reader's Digest version of your faith journey.
Reader's Digest version was, I went from one that grew up Catholic, then we ended up moving over to, first due to some family circumstances, to Cottage Hill Baptist. And that was really the first time I really heard the real word, the gospel. Yeah. And it probably took 2 or 3 years, and it finally, just one day I said, God, I want to know you. I want to know who you are. I know who you are, but I want you to live in me, and I want to live for you. Yeah. I'm tired of being in my head. I want it to be in my heart. And then, once I gave my life to Christ, then, it was
his own like Donkey Kong.
Yeah, that's right. And so that just, hey, it wasn't an overnight. Look, he's still chipping away and molding me and getting rid of this junk out of my life. Right. So, but we're getting there.
When I think about you, I think about so many different things just in and around our friendship. But we've not only do we love sports, I mean, you're an incredible golfer. You won't say you are, but you are. You're also an amazing tennis player. Played tennis in college. In fact, whenever I could be in town, I wanted to be out at the University of Mobile, which was Mobile College at the time. I wanted to be seeing you play tennis. And so we connected definitely through athletics. We have a love for music. We both love music. In fact, you're the best DJ. You've always got the exact right tunes going.
Gotta know your audience.
Oh, you have to know your audience. But I don't know. We just connect on so many different levels. And now that we are on this journey and in this season that we're in now, we've stepped into another level of friendship. Right. Because we're really in ministry together. I mean, you serve here at South Coast Church as one of our trustees. I'll let you and Jeff Fry fight about this, but we've said Jeff Fry was maybe the first guy who wrote his name down to be a volunteer, but you're the first person I called in Mobile when Tracy and I knew that we were called to plant a church and we were going to leave everything, leave the aviation world, pick up our 5 kids, move from Tulsa back to Mobile and plant a church. And when I called you, I mean, I don't remember you hesitating at all. No. Just going, what does that mean, right? Talk about that.
Well, because we're friends.
Yeah.
And that's what friends do. You would do the same for me. I mean, if you moved here, I'm
for.
like, that's what. No, I mean, look, that's like, you're my friend. That's what I'm going to do for you. Yeah. Little did I know what I was getting myself into for the 20-something or whatever. No, that was 2009.
Coming up on 14 years.
Yeah. And
well,
so that just saying yes that one time, that it's been so much awesomeness since then.
Isn't it amazing what our choices do in our life? The choices,
even the little
that
choices that you don't even think are important at the time.
Well, I heard somebody say this one time, and I think it's so great. I want to read it because I want to get it right. Casual friends result from my circumstances. Close friends should be the result of my choices. And I think in the world that we live in, we're around a lot of people. But I think there is a conscious choice that we make, and we have to make if we are going to go after not deal friendships, but real friendships. The people who know who you are, who know what's going on in your life. Just this past Sunday night, we had team night here. So we had our Go team and some new people. We're trying to add some people to our volunteer team. Just got Easter coming. Our church is growing. God's doing some amazing things here. And I told everybody, I said, one of the verses, I love the Apostle Paul, and I know you do too. You love to read the New Testament, to read the epistles. Paul had this unique relationship with Timothy. Mm-hmm. He found Timothy, and of course, unique circumstances. Here's this young guy, and of course, it is a mentor relationship. But Paul and Timothy became friends, and they were definitely, there was a mentor-mentee relationship there. And so Paul goes on to start pouring into Timothy's life. And just, when you read 1st and 2nd Timothy and all that he's trying to download into him about being a leader and being a man, and don't let anybody look down on you because you're young, right. But be who you are, be pure, be in speech and your conduct and integrity and all these things and honesty. But in verse 16 of 1 Timothy 4, he says these 3 words: watch your life. Watch your life. And you may say, Pastor John, what does that have to do with friendship? Watch who's in your life. Mm-hmm. I said to the team night on Sunday, I said, you really need 4 people in your life. I mean, if you think about it, as far as relationships go, certainly, I mean, our marriage relationships. I've known Amy, and you've known Tracy for coming on 30 some years.
Sure.
And so when the day you are born and the day you find out why you were born are the 2 most important days in your life. Certainly when you encounter Christ, changes everything. But who you marry,
that's a biggie.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And we're both very fortunate that we married amazing ladies that have raised amazing families. But the 4 people that I think that we need individually, you need a pastor in your life. You need somebody who's guiding you. I'm thrilled and honored. Not only am I your friend, I'm your pastor, and I love that. But also we get to serve alongside each other in that trustee and pastor relationship and leadership here. But you also got to have somebody that's a counselor in your life. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is they're going to talk about you and help you with your stuff and what you have really going on. You also need a coach in your life. You need somebody ahead of you in the journey who can blow the whistle on you. I did that at team night. I had a whistle around my neck. And you got to have somebody in your life who can scream at you in a way that he loves you or they love you.
Right.
And then you've got to have a friend. And those relationships are so key and so important. The kind of people that I know that you can call me and say that I disagree with you on this. And can I talk to you about, and you and I can talk about difficult things. We can talk to each other about things that are going on in our lives that we wouldn't talk to anybody else about because there's a trust factor. There's certainly longevity there, but I think you have to have a friend that you can go 100% with, that will talk you down off the ledge, that will take your 3 o'clock in the morning conversation. And that's what I've loved about our relationship, that no matter how many miles we had between us or months we'd had since we've spoken, that I could call you and say, hey, here's what's going on. Here's where we are. This is what we're praying about, thinking about. And for you to go, I think that's a good idea. Because you know what? I probably would have taken your advice if you had said, you're going to come here and plant a church? You're insane. But you said, I don't even know what that looks like,
right.
But I'm in. But I think these relationships are important.
Well, I think that also takes some selflessness from both sides, too. And I know that you've got my best interests at heart, no ulterior motive, same way with me with you, that, then I've got your back, you've got my back, then that's all that matters.
I think it's the kind of relationship, I heard it said one time, it's the kind of relationship where I don't really want anything from you.
No.
I want everything for you.
That's right.
But when you do that, and that's that other pillar that this guy talks about with happiness is work that's serving others. I mean, you're in the insurance business, and you definitely are. You're serving people. I mean, you're encountering people sometimes at the worst possible time, and sometimes the best. I just got a car, got my first car. Yeah. But sometimes that's in the worst possible circumstances, and that's what I love about you is that mountaintop or valley, you're like, I'm here. Yeah. Let's go get some Chinese food. I mean, that's just kind of been our thing. I mean, we get Chinese food and we sometimes we sit and they ask us if they can have our table because we've been there. You want anything else? But we'll just go for hours just checking on each other. I mean, I think we question each other. We challenge each other.
Yeah. I was telling Amy yesterday, you called me. I said, it never fails, the same conversation at the same time. I'm like, I can't remember what he called me about because we started here and we ended up over here. And I think we finally wound back around to what we started on. But I said that's our typical conversation. So,
I don't know about you. I hope. I know that Tracy, I love the fact that she and Kim grew up together, and that's just she was just with Kim in Oklahoma, and they're just
well, you got to have that.
And I don't know about you, I want that for my kids.
Sure,
I want that for my grandkids. I want my kids to have a wolf pack, and I'm telling you, I'm so thrilled you're in my wolf pack.
Amen.
And we run together, and we can howl at the moon together, but you're also there when I say, hey, man, we need to plant trees. It's a crazy. And I told you about planting some trees at the church the other day, and you're like, tell me when we're planting trees at the church. I'm like, I'll get a shovel. I'm not an arborist, but I'll be there, right?
I'm skilled labor. I'm in.
And I think that's what a friend is you're just all in. Yeah. And, it's mountaintops and valleys. Right. And I wanted you to know how much I love you.
Well, I love you too, buddy. But at the same time, though, when you say I'm all in, but guess what? My little bit of all in, I get you don't realize this. I get so much more in return from the little bit that I put in. It's like it's goofy. I just laugh at it sometimes. So,
I wrote this down. I want to make sure I say it the right way, because if I say it the wrong way, you will absolutely think that I'm crazy. But I said something about deal friends and real friends. Deal friends are very useful. Like there's a function. Right. to a deal friend relationship.
And we all have friends like that.
There's
nothing wrong with that.
But you know what it is? Real friends are useless.
Yeah.
I didn't say worthless, useless.
Yeah.
They don't want anything from you, and you don't want anything from them, but you want everything for them. Right. And I think that's what my goal and my heart would be for anybody listening to this podcast or watching, is that if you don't have those key relationships, those deep friendships where you can go 100%, we say this all the time, you're only as sick as your secrets. Mm-hmm. And you've got to be able to call somebody, sit across the table from somebody and say, I'm hurting, I'm confused, I don't know what to do. Can I just unload on you? And I'm going to be selfish.
Right.
And have a friend to go, man, that's not selfish. Yeah. That's friendship. Hit me.
You know what? But at the same time, I think I was thinking as you were talking earlier, I think we both growing up had those kind of relationships with our dads. because our dads gave us really good wisdom and
No
good
doubt.
knowledge that we're still using today in our friendships and other friendships too. And so,
I miss Big Dan.
yeah, I do too. Every day.
What year did your dad pass away?
2019.
I was honored to come back and be a part of his memorial. And
Well, we were honored to have you, especially the circumstances that you came back in. That was amazing.
well, and my dad was just here a few minutes ago, and I know that probably one of the things you say is if Dad's here, I want to be able to call and reach out to him.
Oh yeah.
You know, so what I love though is a lot of people weren't as blessed as we were to have a solid, great relationship with family and that kind of thing. That's why I think friends
Yeah.
are so crucial and so important. But here's the thing. Don't let the enemy lie to you and tell you it's too late. You can invest in friendships right now, but you've got to be willing to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
You know, this whole thing with culture and isolation and technology and virtual everything, that here's the thing. Those aren't real friends. You know, you got followers. Those aren't friends.
No.
You got friends. Those aren't real friends. No. You know, what you need is somebody you can sit across the table from and you can say, I'm hurting, I need help, or I'm happy, and let me share something with you that's going on in
And
my
we
life.
all know people, friends or acquaintances or even family members that are, up in age that they don't, even at that age, they don't have those relationships. And it's sad.
It's very sad.
It makes you feel bad. It's like, man, you need somebody to hang out with and talk with and, just let go with, They just don't have it. It's sad.
Right.
That's a bad place to be.
No, it's a very bad place to be. I want to read a scripture before we go, and listen to this. Proverbs 17:17. You know this verse, but I specifically love the Living Bible translation of this verse. It says, "A true friend is always loyal, and a brother is born to help in a time of need." And what I wanted to say to you today was, thank you for being loyal. Thanks for being a loyal friend. Thank you for always being there in a time of need. And whether it was, for me, an insurance need, it just so happens that you're a deal friend and a real friend. I guess those are rare, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think you've ever said no to me. I don't know.
Maybe
and
I should start. I don't know.
It might be a bad idea after this many years, 42 years. Maybe you should say no. But I just wanted to thank you for your loyalty and being willing to help.
That
in
goes.
time
You
of
know
need.
that goes. That goes both ways, man. I mean, I'm not doing anything to you. You haven't done for me. So
Well, you serve, as a trustee here, and I'm thrilled to be able to not only do my personal life with you, but to do our professional and ministry lives together as well. And
Well, I serve because I get to serve, but it's also at the same time though. You almost like you've got when you put the vision in us to say. And just to see, not only that, I kind of just sometimes chuckle to see where we are now compared to we were in the gym, loading the trailer, and I mean it's just amazing what this.
talk about a true friend.
Yeah, no.
In August, in Mobile, Alabama,
Right.
unloading and loading portable church in a trailer.
Yes.
In the rain, Mobile, the top 3 rainiest cities in America. Yet you were there. Amy was there. And to see what God has done,
Amazing,
and just see what He's doing and how excited we are. I love what you always say is this, and I'm gonna close with this. This isn't necessarily about friendships, but it's close to my heart because I'm your friend and you're my friend. You always say this to me: Sunday's my favorite day of the week because of what I get to do.
Yeah.
And making a difference in somebody's life. And you don't know what that means. You don't know what that looks like.
Right.
But whether you're shaking a hand, slapping a back, encouraging somebody, praying for somebody, I just appreciate not only what you do in leadership here, but also when you serve. Because I mean, it's a rare thing to have a lifelong friend who loves you, but not only that, who will come alongside of you and help you in the ministry that God's called you to do. And then to see you and Amy here on Sunday, not only do you serve at a trustee level, you're like boots on the ground, you and Amy, greeting, helping, loving. Of course, you said we fired you from Next Steps, which is hilarious. Only a friend can do that.
That's right.
But, I think your highest and best use here, I'll be honest with you, is you're my friend. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. So I wanted to say thank you for coming and sitting with me for a few minutes.
I take that as a compliment's not the word I'm looking for. I don't even know the word I'm looking for. I'm honored to be your friend, I should say.
Well, I'm honored to be yours.
Yeah, man.
Well, I want to encourage everybody. I hope this conversation has encouraged you. And you know what? You may be thinking of somebody that's in your life that's a friend. I'd encourage you, if you haven't talked to them in a while, if you haven't texted them a while.
Yeah.
Do that. Reach out to them, because I think that is the consistency of the communication is really what keeps those fresh. And so I'd encourage anybody. I mean, listen, it's been a while since you've sat across the table from somebody at lunch or coffee, or invest in those relationships.
It's never too late.
The enemy wants to isolate you. He wants to keep you alone. He wants to keep you in fear. And remember, God hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. So step into a season of happiness by start building and investing in relationships, not deal ones, but real ones.
Yeah.
And thank you for being a real friend.
Oh, man, my pleasure, buddy. Always.
All right. I love you. All right. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to Manpower. We'll see you next time.